Sorry, I'm making a Saturday night. Just not, what do you call it? Not enough time in the day sometimes. Where are we? Here we go. Bank is offering, and again, some of these questions are outdated, but the idea is there. So, interest that you earn is equal to the principal, the money deposited or borrowed, times the interest rate in decimal, times the time in years. So, it's going to ask you first, how much interest did you earn in 1 year? Well, you put $5,000 in the pocket in the bank. They pay you 0.025. You leave it for 1 year. How much money will you get in interest? 5,000 times 0.025. $125. Not bad. Right? To buy a car, Jessica borrowed $15, $15,000 for 3 years. Simple interest rate of 9.2. Talk about bad credit. How much interest will she pay? She pays the entire loan off at the end of the third year. What is the total amount that she will pay? Wow, 9.2. Super high, super high. Consider that sometimes when you buy a car, they even give you 0% interest rate. They don't charge you anything. So 9.2 is pretty bad. So interest rate, principal. She borrowed $15,000 and she agreed to an interest rate of 0.092 for how long? 3 years. So just in interest times 0.092 times 3, and the calculator disappears again. 15,000 0.092 times 3 equals $4,140. So that's how much she pays in interest. So the car that she bought for $15,000 is really not $15,000. It's plus 4,140. So at the end of 3 years, she ends up paying $19,140 for that car. All because her credit wasn't that great. Hey, listen, sometimes you can't help it, things happen, and credit doesn't do too well. All right, so again, $6,000 in the bond, yearly rate of 3%. She earned $450 in interest. How long was the money invested for? So again, remember, there's 4 variables here, right? And at any given point in time, you'll be given 3 of them, and the other one you need to find. In this case, T is what we're looking for. So she made $450. That's how much she earned. She put $6,000 in bonds. The interest rate is 0.03. So how long did she leave the $6,000 to earn $450? Well, okay, so $450. Let's multiply 6,000 times 0.03. That's 180. T, divide both sides by 180 to isolate a variable, right? So that T goes away, and our time in years divided by 180 is 2.5. So she left her investment for 2.5 years before collecting. For Mr. Johnson, again, borrowed $8,000, 4 years to make home improvement. He repaid a total of $10,320. What interest rate did he borrow the money? All right, so EI equals PRT. So he borrowed $8,000. We don't know the interest rate, so R is going to be our variable. He did it for 4 years. And how much interest did he pay? Well, he borrowed $8,000. Think about it. At the end of 4 years, he paid $10,320. So we're going to subtract these two. Right? So 0, 2, 3, 2,300. So the difference here, this is how much he had to pay in interest. So he borrowed $8,000, right? Plus he had to pay the bank $2,320, and that's how much he repaid, right? So he went to the bank, asked for $8,000. The bank said yes, and you can pay us back the next 4 years. But because you're paying back the next 4 years, we're going to charge you what? A certain interest rate, and that interest rate amounted to him paying $2,320 in interest. So that's the number that we put over here. Time is 4 years, so we can change that to 4. So R is our missing value. So 8,000 times 4 is 32,000. R. Over here I'll put 2320. We're going to divide both sides by 32,000. And R equals, I have no idea, 2320 divided by 3200 equals 0.0725, which you multiply that by 100 or move the decimal 2 to the right. So the interest rate that he was charged was 7.25, quite high. John's parents deposited $1,000 in a savings account out of the college fund he was born. How much will he have in his account 18 years after at a yearly simple interest of 3.25? So when we talk about compounding money, you'll see what difference that's going to make, right? So here we go. I equals PRT. Parents put $1,000. The interest rate was 0.0325, and they left it there for 18 years. So at the end of 18 years, John's going to go to the bank and say, hey, let me see my balance. And he would have earned $585. So how much will John have in the account? Well, his account will have $1,000 that his parents deposited plus $585, so he's going to have a balance of $1,585. To buy a laptop, Elaine borrowed $2,000 at 3 years for 3 years at an interest rate of 5.1. How much will she have to pay in interest? At the end of 30, blah, 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 and what is the total amount she paid? All right, so again, I equals PRT. So she borrowed money, $2,000, and she agreed to an interest rate of 0.051, and she did it for 3 years. So 2,000 times 0.051 times 3, so that in interest, I guess, right, she, in addition to her $2,000 that she paid for her computer, she has to pay back $306 to whoever lent her the money. So at the end of the 3 years, when everything's paid for, her laptop that was priced at $2,000 was actually $2,306. TJ invested $4,000 bond. Again, how long? So this is a time problem. How long? For 2.45. He earned $200 in interest. How long was the money invested for? All right, so IPRT. So T's are missing information. So he earned $200. So that's how much he made, the interest. The principal was $4,000. Interest rate was 0.0245 as a decimal, and we're looking for the time. So let's multiply 4,000 times 0.0245. That's going to give us 98T. And 200 on the other side. Divide both sides by 98. And T equals... Oh my god. You might need to buy a calculator one day. I'm going to round this near some time. 2.05 years, 04 years. Okay. 8. Mr. Mogi borrowed $9,000 for 10 years to make home improvements. He repaid a total of $18,247. Jeez, that's a lot. At what interest rate did he borrow the money? He repaid a total. Okay, I see. So he borrowed $9,000 for 10 years, right? And when he paid, after all is said and done, after he paid everything back, right? It was $18,247 that he paid back. That includes the $9,000 that he borrowed. So let me take the $9,000 out. If you take the $9,000 out, it means that $9,247 was in interest that he paid the bank. So he borrowed $9,000. And $9,247 was paid to the bank, right, in interest. Because the bank has to make some money, right? They're not just going to lend you the money for no reason. So, yikes. So that home improvement for $9,000 that he, borrowed in the beginning, it actually didn't end up being $9,000, right? It ended up being $18,247. Well, but the good, well, I mean, there's good and bad in that, right? We'll look at it and say, oh my God, he paid so much in interest to the bank. Yes, but he paid it over 10 years, right? A little bit every month over the period of 10 years. So at least it gives him the opportunity to make the home improvements, right? So again, PRT. The interest that he paid the bank was $9,247. The money that he initially borrowed was $9,000. The interest rate, we don't know. And the time, yeah, it took him 10 years to pay all that back. All right. 9,000 times 10 is 90,000. R, 9247. This side, divide both sides by 90,000. 3, and the interest rate was 9247 divided by 90, 123 equals 0.1027, We're going to round out to the nearest hundredth, and it's 10.27%. Again, not that great of a interest rate. Yeah, he got, well, maybe he didn't have that. He had decent credit, I guess. Bertha deposited 1,000 when she was 18 in the retirement account. How much money will Bertha have in the account? 50 years after 50 years at a yearly rate of 7.5. And again, right, this should be interesting. So she put $1,000 down, left it in the bank, 0.075, and she left that for 50 years. Well, it's going to be 1,000 times 0.075 times 50, 3,750. That's how much she made in interest. So when she comes back in 50 years, she's going to have the $1,000 that she put in to begin with, plus this much that she earned. So her total account balance would be 4,750. Joshua borrowed $1,000 from his friend, paid him back $1,050 in 6 months. What simple annual interest did he pay his friend? All right. So he paid back $1,050 to his friend, which means he paid the $1,000 that he initially borrowed plus 50 in interest. So his friend made $50. So that's the interest the friend made. The principal, $1,000 that he borrowed initially. Interest rate, we don't know. And the time was 6 months, 6 over 12, or a half, or 0.5, whichever one you want. 1,000 times a half is 500. 500 R. And then this is 50. Divide both sides by 500. Okay. And the interest rate that his friend charged him was 10%. Right, 0.1. Move the decimal over to the right twice, or multiply by 100, and you get 10%. So this is pretty straightforward, right? Interest rate is pretty straightforward. And that's it.